On this life flight, fears for a young woman thrown from a horse, a young girl and her mother's flight into the unknown,
She's had her days, but yeah, she's a fighter.
and a race against time to save a man whose heart has stopped beating.
You might die from this.
When emergencies strike, time, distance, and the men and women of life flight can be the difference between life and death. This is Life Flight. The Life Flight team are on their way to a serious accident, but pilot Dean Herrick and crewman Colin Larson have limited details.
Colin, C01 Wellington, go ahead.
Just confirm what we're responding to.
At this stage, someone that's fallen off a horse.
Roger, understood, and about 6 minutes to scene.
15-year-old Gabby Evans landed on her head and lost consciousness when she was thrown from her horse. Intensive care paramedic David Huntley is concerned for the young woman.
Well, for her, obviously a head injury and then a spinal injury, so they'll remain. And then we'll look for other things like external bleeding or blunt trauma, so bleeding to a chest.
The event is being held in the 650-hectare Queen Elizabeth Park. Finding the patient will prove challenging.
There'll be horses for miles up there.
Yeah, there's the road ambulance, right in the middle of that far paddock there. Comms Air 1 Wellington located overhead.
An ambulance crew has just arrived. Intensive care paramedic Derek Quinn has started a basic survey of Gabby's injuries.
Initially, KO, snoring arrest, became combative, and now conscious.
Gabby's attempts to fight her carers is a sign she has a significant head injury.
Let's get her on there and have a look from there. Who's this to you?
My daughter.
Okay.
Mum Susan was watching Gabby's cross-country run from a nearby hill when she saw the accident.
Do you remember what happened this afternoon?
No.
No? Do you know where you are this afternoon?
Wellington?
Wellington?
No, I don't know.
No, that's okay.
Between jumps, the horse fell, and Gabby fell out the front and landed and was unconscious when I got down to her. It was horrible.
The Life Flight Air Ambulance is undergoing pre-mission checks as a girl who may have life-threatening cancer arrives at base. Flight nurse Cheryl Gibbs is meeting her for the first time.
Hi, I'm Cheryl. How you going? So, how many times have you been in the Life Flight plane? Once.
8-year-old Karcher and mum Karen are being flown to Auckland, where Karcher will be examined by specialists and learn if the tumour cut out of her leg is cancerous.
She's had a tumour removed from her thigh. And we just need to find out the results of what we're looking at.
Karcher was wrestling with her younger brothers and suffered a bruise that wouldn't heal. Scans revealed a tumour in her thigh bone.
She's on the cards just to stabilise her leg. Right up to her tummy, eh, darling?
Yep. Very uncomfortable at night, though.
It is. But, yeah, it's been a long road of just the unknown, yep. Just not knowing what's going to happen.
You still feeling nauseous?
Yeah.
A little bit anxious, are you? A little bit of butterflies in the tummy.
A bit nervous.
She'd never flown before all of this.
Karcher's first ever aeroplane flight was on Life Flight's bandage plane for surgery last month. The trip went smoothly, but Karcher is worried about the potentially bumpy flight ahead.
I always know something's going to go wrong, and nothing's going to go wrong today. You've got a super nurse on board.
The last month has brought Karcher's strength and determination to the fore, giving Karen even greater respect for her child.
She's so brave. She's had her days. But yeah, she's a fighter.
Everybody's buckled up.
Yep.
Back at Queen Elizabeth Park, Gabby is disorientated and David is concerned she has significant injuries.
So you're going over a jump and you've got over the jump? Or you haven't yet?
I can't remember.
Oh, you can't remember?
Gabby rode her first pony at 18 months old, but this has been her worst fall and she's taking it hard.
How did it look up, Mum?
He just slipped in the grass when we were going around the corner. Just one of those things. You fell harder than him, huh?
Okay, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3, left.
Gabby isn't retaining information and the team need to get her to specialist care.
Couple of wee bumps here. You gave yourself a good smack on the head, obviously, to knock yourself out.
Did I knock myself out fully?
Yep.
Yeah, you did.
You did.
Whoops.
Set skip.
Cool, second station.
I come to with a 15-year-old female who was fallen from a horse. In fact, the horse is 16 hands high. Was seen to land on her head unconscious by the time people arrived to her.
Comms Air 1 Wellington, landing Wellington Hospital.
The Westpac chopper has made the 45-minute road journey in a third of the time, but Gabby's memory isn't improving.
Do you know what day it is today?
End of Feb. No.
I want to save lives. Keeping on horses.
The Life Flight team are on a critically important mercy dash to save a Masterton man's life. But the threat of bad weather has crewman Dave Greenberg and pilot Harry Stevenson on alert.
Our main challenge is the weather conditions. We've got a lot of low cloud and pretty steady rain, which cuts down our visibility, which is our main challenge. So if it really closes down, we'll have to flag it.
67-year-old engineer Graham Duckett collapsed at work after going into cardiac arrest. His heart stopped for 10 minutes before being restarted. Dr. Benny Hellquist and flight nurse Lois Roberts know that without urgent treatment, their patients' odds of survival are slim.
The worst case scenario is obviously that the brain got too much damage during the time that the heart wasn't beating. He might die from this.
The Life Flight team are battling poor visibility to reach a man suffering a cardiac arrest. Dr. Benny Hellquist is concerned every moment lost puts the patient's life in further danger.
Always when a patient's heart has stopped, it makes it very critical. And the concerns are always about the brain, which is the most sensitive organ. And since the heart has stopped, there's no blood flow to the brain. All secure for landing in the back?
Yeah, we're good, thanks.
Harry has made it through the bad weather to land at Masterton Hospital. While the medical team leaves to assess Graham, wife of 45 years, Heather, waits anxiously to hear news.
Upset, of course. Yeah, I'm sort of really don't know where I'm at. Yeah, but just have to hang in there for him.
Meanwhile, the air ambulance is mid-flight on its way to Auckland, giving mum Karen time to consider the possibility daughter Karcher's leg may have to be amputated if a tumour is found to be cancerous.
I wouldn't say worst case scenario, because worst case scenario would be losing her. But it's certainly right up there.
The flight itself is causing the inexperienced flyer stress that she doesn't need right now.
She's not only feeling nauseated, but she's a little bit frightened about the bumps. Just try and distract her by getting her to do some different kind of breathing. And I mean, for us, we're just so used to it, we don't even think about it really. But for a little one that's not really flowing much, it's quite scary.
In the emergency department, cross-country rider Gabby is not showing any signs of improvement to her head injury after a heavy fall off her horse.
Right, 1, 2, 3. So this is Gabby. She was riding a horse, gone around a bit of a corner, turned on her, the horse is sliding out from underneath and she's gone down to the ground. Hit her head, had her helmet on, was KO'd for a short period of time. She's been quite combative to start with and then slowly improved to, she's 14 and now almost 15. You just stay nice and still and just do all the work.
We get one more person and get it off the board.
We do all the work. You don't have to do anything.
Okay.
The potential for head, neck or chest injuries has Mum Susan worried.
Alright, just been strong for her, but I know she's in good hands.
When I walked to the course, the ground was all fine, Mum.
No, I don't think you did anything wrong. It's just one of those unlucky things.
We're just waiting for the doctor popping in.
Registrar Chris White is hoping to rule out internal bleeding as a cause of Gabby's memory loss.
So what's the last thing you remember before things happened?
I remember going off at a good pace for the cross country and jumping first 2 jumps. Yeah. No, 4 jumps, yeah.
Okay, so you remember the first 4 jumps and then...
5. Hang on.
Okay, what's the next thing you remember?
Waking up a little bit and then someone was telling me, oh, there's a chopper coming. And I remember a voice that I knew. Yeah, that's about probably it.
Chris is confident Gabby doesn't have a serious head injury, but he's concerned the equestrian could have broken ribs or a bleed in her lungs. In Masterton, the Life Flight team are preparing family man Graham for a rescue flight after his heart stopped at work.
Probably be landing at the airport because the weather's pretty bad. It's too misty, you can't see.
Graham's assistant Karen performed CPR with another colleague until the ambulance arrived to shock his heart.
But right now it's just like, I hope he's okay. Like I said, he's the best boss I've ever had. So, yeah, I want him back at work.
His back pain versus shoulder pain, which could be muscular or could be chest infection.
Doctors haven't determined the cause of Graham's massive cardiac event, and there are concerns his heart could stop beating again mid-flight. But bad weather means they won't be able to land at Wellington Hospital.
Air 1 lifting from Masterton, transporting 1 through. At this point, we're going to head to the airport and drive through in our ambulance. So at work, his colleague started CPR when his heart stopped immediately, which is a very, very good and brave thing of them to do. And the ambulance was called, and the ambulance arrived within 10 minutes. They gave him a shock to his heart to restart his heart, and that was successful. So all in all, his heart was stopped for around 10 minutes.
Dr. Benny Hellquist is keeping the family man sedated, and a ventilator is breathing for him, but the engineer is struggling to get enough oxygen.
Lois.
Yep.
Would you mind increasing the frequency on the ventilator, please? The CO2 was up to around 50 and it's creeping up.
The team increased the amount of oxygen going to Graham's vital organs. It's not the first time Harry and Dave have been part of a team that has worked to save this man's life.
Well, it'll probably be 5 or 6 years ago. We had a job rescuing a couple of guys whose small fishing craft had sunk around just off the Naui coast, and we winched them both aboard, so hopefully we can play a role in helping them to beat this challenge as well.
His blood pressure has taken a little bit of a dip along the way, so we've turned down his sedation because that drops your blood pressure, because we need his brain and all of his organs perfused. It's the last thing we want to do is have it so low.
A break in the weather gives the team a chance to shave vital minutes off the trip, but Graham's heart could stop again at any moment.
We're going to try for the hospital.
The Life Flight team have outrun bad weather that was threatening their mission and are approaching Wellington with engineer Graham, whose heart stopped for 10 minutes.
Every time when someone's heart stops, it's very critical and very, very serious. It's impossible to tell or to speculate really on anything, how good or how bad he's going to do. Comms Air 1 Wellington, we've managed to get to the hospital landing now.
The dash for the hospital roof has saved vital minutes, and the team rushed Graham into intensive care.
We'll just go slow, yeah?
Yeah, let's go slow.
everyone. Ready on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Masterton doctors have not been able to diagnose the cause of the cardiac arrest, and the next few hours will be critical for Graham. The fixed-wing crew are approaching Auckland with Karcher and Mum Karen, whose lives have been put on hold until they can discover if the tumour removed from the 8-year-old's thigh bone is cancerous.
Yeah, I think I've prepared myself for it, as much as I can. Yeah. This is probably going to be the hardest thing you'll ever go through in your life. Yeah. It's certainly for things that affect them, that's for sure. Yeah. The little things just don't matter anymore.
On finals for landing now.
In Wellington Hospital, doctors are concerned Gabby has damage to her chest after falling off a horse during a cross-country competition. Radiographer Clive Lloyd is looking for evidence there is bleeding in Gabby's lungs.
So you can have an acute injury which could stop your breathing and could be fatal if not treated or assessed very quickly. So things can turn in minutes to problems, something nasty, so that's why we have to do a chest x-ray quite quickly.
Gabby has slowly regained awareness of events, and Chris has the results of the scan.
Very low suspicion that you've got any breaks in your chest at all, so I'm quite happy.
Oh, that's cool.
You should be able to get up and about and get you home, hopefully.
Yay, thank you.
No worries.
It's great news for Mum Susan and Gabby.
Hopefully I can go home in an hour, be discharged, so that'd be cool. Yeah.
In Auckland, 8-year-old Karcher is overcoming her nerves from the flight, watched over by Mum Karen.
No other medical problems? No, this is her first major hiccup, this one.
Karen is worried about the news that awaits them in Auckland Hospital.
Just can't wait for that one. One way or another, just to have some answers and make a plan. I hate not having a plan. It's been the hardest thing. It's not.
Once you've got some answers, you can start dealing with it, eh? And doing something concrete.
Yeah. It's just the whole not knowing makes it hard.
Specialists will visit Karcher and Karen at the on-site hospice, and the family will finally have the answers they need. In Wellington Hospital, Graham has been woken from his induced coma. 16% of people who suffer a cardiac arrest in the Greater Wellington region survive. Wife Heather and son Blair are grateful Graham has made it this far.
From where he's been last night, in a coma, now he's almost recognising us, we think. So, starting to misbehave. Lucky Mum's here to tell him off.
While there is cause for celebration, the reason Graham's heart stopped is still a mystery. Cardiologist Scott Harding brings the engineer in for an urgent angiogram to look for a cause.
This area here, you can see, doesn't contract, and that suggests that this is an area of scarring. Our plan for here would be to get a more detailed assessment of his left ventricle, the muscle.
The lack of answers and threat of more arrests is taking its toll on Heather and son Shane.
Get some answers, okay?
19 days after Graham's heart stopped, doctors have confirmed his cardiac arrest was due to a heart attack. The knowledge gives Graham and Heather some sense of closure.
Really good to see him smiling. Back to himself, being cheeky to everybody, and all in sundry, really.
Well, it's like a second chance. I could have picked it easy.
Yeah. But he's here now, so ready to go home.
You've done well looking after me. 45 years of...
Of what?
All sorts, really.
8-year-old Karcher was told by Auckland specialists that her first tumour was not cancerous, but they had discovered another. The second growth was removed, and the young girl has returned to Wellington.
To hear that one had come back and the her future being unknown again as to whether we would have to face more and more operations. Yeah, it was devastating to say the least.
I felt real sad.
Fortunately, the second tumour was cleared of being cancerous too. Katja will continue to be monitored for more growths over the next few years, and the family are remaining optimistic.
For us in Katja's future, now that hopefully everything is behind us, that we can move forward and she can return back to school properly, go back to playing sport, and we just hope that Katja can just enjoy life again. We're really grateful to everyone that's helped us, knowing that Lifeflight would look after us and that we would get home safely. I just can't thank Lifeflight people enough. And it's an amazing service and something that is extremely valuable.
Cardiac arrest patient Graham returned home to his family. He has made changes to his diet and lifestyle in the hope that he will be around for a long time yet. Cross-country rider Gabby was released from hospital later that day after falling off her horse, but over the next few months she suffered concussion symptoms. She has now recovered and is back horse riding.